the center of Finland, in a quiet and cozy town. One day she heard about the legend of a terrible underground system that was located in the depths of an abandoned old building. A wave of curiosity swept over her, and she decided to try to pass through this subway. In the evening, when the city was hidden in darkness, Emily gathered her village and headed for the abandoned building. Her heart was beating in her chest as she descended the stairs down into the darkness of the dungeons. The subway turned out to be dark and ominous, as if shrouded in the darkness of the past. As she progressed, Emily began to feel that she was not alone in this underground maze. Rustles, muffled footsteps, light sources that flashed in the distance, all this created an atmosphere of anxiety and fear. It seemed that someone or something was following her, but she couldn't make out anything concrete. As Emily moved deeper into the darkness, she began to hear ghostly whispers that filled the underground passages. Voices from the past penetrated her mind, whispering predictions and warnings. She felt that this place was hiding the souls of the dead, unhappy creatures trying to convey their messages to the world of the living. However, Emily didn't stop. She was determined to get to the bottom of the truth that was melting in the depths of this abandoned underground system. The further she went, the more she plunged into a dark past full of secrets and mystical powers. In the end, she discovered a huge hall topped with grand vaults. In the center of the hall stood an ancient altar, on which a dazzling fire burned. Strange symbols covered the walls, glowing in the flickering light of the flames. Under the influence of a strange energy, Emily came closer and read the ancient words written on the altar. Suddenly, the room was filled with a dark aura, and the spirits of the past became visible. They surrounded Emily, filling her heart with terror and anxiety. One of the spirits shouted a prophecy predicting the death and the plunge of the world into darkness if Emily did not stop her research. But her curiosity was too strong, and she rejected the warning. When Emily rejected the warning and continued her research, she suddenly felt the air around her become dense and impenetrable. She began to choke, feeling her lungs fill with blood with every breath. Panic seized her, and soon she lost consciousness. When Emily woke up, she was lying on the floor, surrounded by frightening races of blood. Her nose and mouth were the source of heavy bleeding that did not stop for a second. Panic seized her again when she realized that she had lost the ability to breathe. In a hopeless attempt to find help, she rolled helplessly on the floor, leaving a trail of blood behind her. The gloomy corridors of the abandoned subway seemed endless, and Emily felt increasingly weak. Her eyes grew dimmer and dimmer, and her consciousness began to leave her. Time slowed down, and it seemed to her that she had spent an eternity in this agonizing darkness. In the gloomy depths of the abandoned subway, Emily continued to slowly deplete. Her strength was leaving her body, but her determination did not leave her. In the midst of suffering and despair, she found new and mysterious rooms full of rusty carpets and walls covered with mysterious symbols. In every room she explored, she found traces of those who got lost in this place earlier. Tablets describing their fates and their final moments lay on dust-covered tables. Skulls decorated the floor, like grim evidence of the many horrors experienced in these rooms. Emily continued to suffer from airlessness, but despite this, she did not give up hope. In her powerless search for a way out, she found hidden passages and secret rooms, penetrating deeper into the dark depths of this underground system. Her body was exhausted and tortured, but she had new abilities to adapt to this ruthless environment. She learned to hear faint echoes of the past, which helped her avoid traps and dangers. Her senses were so sensitive that she could almost feel every rusty surface, every hole in the ceiling. With each new discovery, Emily plunged more and more into the depths of the abandoned subway. She suffered from endless hunger and thirst, her body languished from exhaustion. But she didn't give up. With her last strength, she continued to explore, despite the despair that gripped her. In the forgotten corners of the subway, she found musty food supplies and small sources of water. These rare finds kept her alive, albeit at a minimal level. However, time was her enemy. Her supplies were rapidly depleted, and she realized that without a constant source of food and water, she could not survive. One day, while exploring a new room, Emily fell to the floor. She felt that her strength had completely dried up. The air became heavier and heavier, and a gloomy atmosphere permeated her every cell. Without food and water, her body was deprived of the necessary resources for survival. In the last moments of consciousness, Emily closed her eyes and gave herself up to despair. She plunged into a world of darkness and peace, realizing that the subway space had become her eternal shelter.